Welcome to toy-polloi.
Hello and welcome to another video from toy-polloi, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at this Raiders of the Lost Ark Marion Ravenwood figure from Stan Solo. Now this is a retro inspired figure. If you've seen my reviews before of the other Stan Solo stuff, he mainly does Star Wars things. In fact, I think this is the first time he's not doing a Star Wars retro figure. So this is quite an interesting figure to me because I do like collecting the Raiders of the Lost Ark figures. They're pretty hard to find in the UK, and this is the first time I've actually ever seen this figure. So this is all new to me and it looks fantastic. The figure is available both as a loose version where you get Marion and the little monkey, and also as a carded version that you can see there in the middle. So let's take a closer look at the carded version and see what that looks like. So here is the card, and if you've ever seen any of the Stan Solo sort of Star Wars cards, you'll know what good quality they are. They're printed on some really nice sort of cardstock that is very similar to the original versions of the cards. On the front here you can see this is the Marion Ravenwood action figure. And it says on the top here, The Adventures of Indiana Jones in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Now these were released, I think, originally back in about 1982, something like that. Does it say on the back? Yeah, it does say 1982. And I've always found them particularly hard to find here in the UK. So the fact that you can now get this retro version of Marion is really sort of quite cool, because it's one figure I don't actually even have in my collection. So it's one I've been wanting to get for a long while. You can see you get the figure here on the front. So this is Marion, and you get the little monkey. You can just about see him there underneath, and she's got this nice sort of fabric and lace skirt going on. The card is an incredibly good likeness to the original one. I've looked at a lot of sort of photos of original cards online, and I know exactly what it looks like. So this is a really good copy of that card. If we turn it over on the back, you can see other figures that you would have been able to get in the line. So we've got Indiana Jones with his whip and pistol, who I've actually put there in the background. We've got Tot, again I've put him there in the background, and then we've also got the Cairo swordsman, so you can see him there, and the other play sets. It shows all the sort of the original details that you would have got there. For those who are worried about sort of getting this mixed up with a sort of a vintage original version of the card, if we zoom in down here, you can see underneath the Made in Hong Kong sign, it says Stan Solo. This is what he does on all of his cards, so all of the Star Wars cards have the same. I think that's looking really nice, and this is actually going to be one that I will be putting with my display of Indiana Jones figures, because I don't have any carded, so it's going to look quite nice to actually have one of these in the background. Also on the front of the card you can see there's the little mail away offer, because much like Star Wars, at the time that this figure was originally produced, they were doing a mail away offer where you could collect the proof of purchase of a few of these cards. I think it says 3 here, and send away for a Belloc figure. So a lot of the cards that you would have seen at the time, people would have cut this away because that's the part that you have to send off. But it's nice to see it all on this sort of reproduction card. I think it does look incredibly nice. It's such a crisp card, and as well it's unpunched, so it's really going to display very nicely in lots of people's collections. So here we have the figure. You get Marion and you get this little monkey accessory, which may or may not focus because it's so tiny. So you can see there we get this tiny little monkey in a little waistcoat. He is a pretty key figure in the Raiders of the Lost Ark movie, and dies because of some bad dates. So it's a tiny little figure, really nicely made actually. It's amazing what detail you can get in such a small thing. If we turn it over to the bottom, you can see there's not a lot of detail on the bottom, and we just got one bit of paint application there, which is to the little red waistcoat. But that is a key accessory that you need with Marion Ravenwood. Then we come onto the figure, which really does look amazing. So it's a pretty reasonable likeness to Karen Allen, I would say, considering the era that these figures were originally made. I think it's looking really quite nice. She is very nicely detailed as well. You can see the little painted eyes there, and there's nice little bits of sculpting going on the sleeves and on the front there. The thing that amazes me the most about this is how Chris has been able to recreate the skirt part of this figure, because it's made out of sort of quite a fine lace. There's a few layers of lace, so at least 3 layers of lace. That has been then sewn onto a little bit of white fabric. And if we turn it round to the back, you can see there's this nice little sort of flower detail with a bit of yellow sort of going on in the middle. It's just incredible that he's been able to recreate this. This is all elasticated as well, so we can actually take this off the figure. If I sort of pull this down, you can see that it's a fully elasticated sort of separate piece. Underneath you can see there she's got sort of flesh coloured legs and little high heel shoes on the back as well. You can see there's detail as where the paint has been applied. It's an amazing recreation. I always say this about his figures. I don't know how he does it. The copyright information has been changed. So on the back of the leg, you can just about see there, it says SS, where it would have originally said Kenner. So again, that's something if you're worried about whether these sort of figures will get into circulation and people will be selling them as original, it's quite easy to spot that this has been marked there with SS. So let me put the skirt back on, because without that, she looks a little bit strange. It's easy enough to put back on. As I say, it's elasticated, so it just slides up. I think it is a really cool looking figure and so close to sort of the original style. If I bring in my Indiana Jones figure, I don't have an original Marion, so I sort of can't compare at the moment, but you can see there, if I can put the two together, it looks really nice, and this is certainly going to go very nicely with my Indiana Jones sort of figure display that I have growing here. It's really nicely done. Now, you may have seen the news that Hasbro just announced that they are doing a retro version of Indiana Jones to mark the 40th anniversary of that movie coming out. So next year they will be producing this figure. They didn't show the back of the card, so whether they're producing any others, I don't know. So it could be that this will be the only way that you're going to be able to get a version of Marion Ravenwood. And judging by the quality of the previous retro versions of Star Wars figures that Hasbro have done, I don't think they're going to be matching the same quality that Stan Solo does. The Star Wars retro figures all have fairly sort of soft plastic used on the arms and legs, so they're really quite bendy. When Chris does them with Stan Solo, the figures are so close to the original in their sort of look and feel. I have a feeling that if Hasbro do ever do this figure, which at the moment we really don't know, I don't think it will reach the same sort of quality that Stan Solo is able to do with these figures. So I would say you need to grab one of these now, because it's certainly worth getting. I'm going to put links to the Stan Solo website and all of his sort of Instagrams and Facebooks in the description of this video. So if you want to get your own version, then go and get it there. As an indie fan, I think it's a worthwhile thing to purchase. Certainly, I've never seen a carded version of her here in the UK, so I'm really pleased to actually finally have this in my collection. And as far as I'm aware, this is going to be the only Raiders figure that Stan Solo is doing for the moment, so grab them while you can. If you've enjoyed this video, then make sure to hit the subscribe button and tap the bell to be notified each time I upload a new video. And thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching toy-polloi. Subscribe for more great videos. You can also follow toy-polloi on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.